You'll be here for my 2 o'clock show tomorrow.
One of you can sit down.
There's a chair over there.
There's a couple of them here.
Yeah, we got a couple chairs. You want to sign in real quick, and we'll get this thing on the road. My name is Mike Raymond. Everybody knows me as a gambler. If you don't know me, oh well, you've been missing out. But I got tagged to do this little class. I happen to know a little bit about it. I've been with the Riders for 20 years. I've been post commander 6 years. It's one of my main.
Hecklers.
Yeah. So anyway, I know a little bit about finance, but hey, if you know better than me, let me know. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. I have some really good people. I have Stuart here, who's on the finance committee, who knows a bunch of stuff, and he will correct me, trust me. Tim back there, he knows a bunch of stuff. He's been around a long time. But we're going to start finance officer training, and I have to talk a little bit slower because I got in trouble because I got you guys out too early last time. So
That's why half of them come back. And you say I.
it is very important that as the finance officer of your chapter, you need to know what your responsibilities are. And trust me, there is a lot of them. Article 2 of the American Legion Riders SOP, which you guys will be hopefully approving a new one this week or tomorrow, Saturday. Not a lot of changes, but these are the finance responsibilities. Number 1, finances will be derived from membership dues, sale of approved merchandise, and such other revenue sources as approved by the ALR General Membership. What's the key word?
Membership.
Membership. It's always membership. Anything in the American Legion that we do is driven by membership. Your commander, your director, does not have veto power over the membership. When you decide on something and you vote on it and it gets approved, it gets approved. No matter what he says. Trust me, I know. Checks issued by the ALR chapter must have the post finance officer, his or her designee, as one of the signatories on the bank account. How many of you guys have your finance officer from your post on your bank account? It's a requirement according to the SOP. These are standard operating procedures. An ALR chapter may not incur any debt in the name of the post. You can't go out and buy a $50,000 Harley Davidson with your money and raffle it off without the post knowing about it. The ALR chapter of a post is a subordinate organization to the sponsoring post, which is a non-profit organization, a tax-exempt corporation under the laws of the state of Florida. Don't go out and run out and get yourself 501c3 because it ain't gonna work. Okay, you are a program of the Legion. Should the ALR chapter be dissolved or suspended, you must send all checks to Michael Gambler Raymond.
I got the memo.
All funds and assets will be immediately turned over to the sponsoring post for disposition, except for anything that has already been allocated to somewhere else. If you raise money for children and youth, and you know your chapter is being dissolved, you need to send that check to them before it goes to the post, or make sure that the post does, because all monies collected under that line item must go to that line item. Okay, finance will be derived, and I keep saying deprived, which membership dues, sale of approved merchandise, and such other revenue sources as approved by the ALR General Membership. What's the key word?
Membership.
Membership dues. Each chapter sets the amount of their dues. Each chapter decides whether they have a PUFL program. You guys got PUFL programs in your post?
Yeah.
Chapter? Okay. If you decide to quit that chapter and go to another chapter, they're going to refund your money? You're going to be good at the other post?
Maybe.
It will not be.
Maybe. Depends upon how that other chapter has their
They have an agreement.
standing orders written. Yeah.
You know of
In my
any-
chapter, if you're a lifetime member in your chapter and you come to my chapter, you only have to pay 50% of our lifetime.
Okay, so they have a deal with that chapter. You go to another chapter, it's probably not going to work out that way. But that's a great idea. Maybe we should talk about that, you know. 'Cause I think a PUFL program is pretty good, you know. Except you get a lot of little Karens that get pissed. Sale of approved merchandise. What does that mean? Sale of approved merchandise. That is all merchandise that is approved by American Legion. American Legion. It has to be approved by American Legion. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, there's, these new logos can be used without permission from National, right? You still gotta use that, you still gotta get permission?
You do.
Okay, but it's a trademark, anything trademarked. Other revenue sources, poker runs, raffles, dinners, any others? What else do you do to raise money?
Dinners, oh.
Liquor bottles.
Let me,
Yeah, that's
let me
rough.
run a quick one by. This is one I did. Poker runs, everybody loves poker runs, okay? But unless they got something like POWMA in front of it, probably gonna work too hard for not enough money, right? Except for the one we came up with at our post. We decided instead of going to bars, we're gonna go to nursing homes. We went to 5 nursing homes and finalized at a resort where they had hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. I got more riders on that poker run. And what we did when we got there, we pinned the veterans that were at the nursing home. They actually met us outside. It was all pre-planned, and it was pretty awesome. You might want to look into that.
Where'd you get the money from then? Just the people who are riders?
Right, you
Riders are the
pay,
ones
just
who-
like a regular poker run,
Yeah,
you
put your
charge
money in.
$20, and then you have baskets and
Right.
have 50/50s.
COVID's benefits with that though, they were trying to get into senior centers with COVID and the flu going around.
Yeah, I think you can do it now. This was before COVID, so.
Well, each facility's different when they get their outbreak.
This is something you have to plan well in advance and not too far in
We were
advance. 'Cause
outside.
half your customers will be dead by the time you get there.
Yeah.
Just saying. You gotta hurry on some people. Checks issued by ALR chapter must have the post finance officer, his or her designee as one of the signatories on the bank account. The ALR chapter may decide the other chapter signatories on said instrument. That's very clear. You have to have the finance officer or a representative from the post on your checking account. And that's just common sense. Must be approved, when you open a checking account, it must be approved by the general membership. You must state the signatories. Information must be included in the official minutes. On an existing checking account, submit ALR minutes showing the newly elected officer to the bank to change signatories as needed. And I don't actually agree with this one because of, there's good reasons to have a debit card, there's also bad reasons.
Mhm.
A debit card, if somebody gets a hold of it, it's harder to get your money back. Whereas if you get a credit card, make a phone call, they get your money right back in the account. I'll give you a good example. We have a post that's in the central area of Florida here that had a dishonest adjutant, and I guess he got kicked out for stealing or something, and he moved to Minnesota. Well, when he got up to Minnesota, he decided he needed a new motorcycle.
Oh.
So what he did, he took a little piece of paper out of his wallet with the debit card number on it, and took it to a bike shop and bought a bike. All they did was picked up the phone to see if there was money in the account. That's all they do. There was money in the account. He rode away with a $30,000 motorcycle.
Yeah, boy.
Wow. Now, if he had a credit card and tried to do that, you'd be on the phone the next day going, hey, that wasn't us, you know, and you'd get your money back, and they probably would be all over the guy. So be careful. Does everybody have it? Go ahead.
Also, make sure when you change financial officers that you change the password to get into the accounts. So we've had an issue with
Got to
that.
do it. I would recommend you do that anyway, you know? Anytime you have a new election, every year, you change your passwords, change your credit cards, you know? If you have your own personal name on it.
Could we have some people tell us that because we were a nonprofit, that we could not get a credit card?
Nonprofits can get a nonprofit
Yeah,
credit card.
see, and I think
But it's
this
through
is
the-
one of
It's
them
through your
things.
legion, it's through your post,
Mhm.
okay? Because
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna get into that in a second, but your EIN
Tax rebate, right.
is assigned to all your post accounts. So you get it through that. When I asked for my credit card for my chapter, I said, we need 2 credit cards. And they gave me like a $500 credit limit. I said, it's useless. I called them back and said, this is what I need. Boom, no problem. We we got the cards. But you gotta keep an eye on them, just like any other money. Keep them locked up. People shouldn't be carrying them around in their wallet, you know? You need it, go to the post, get it from the adjutant, have the adjutant hang on to it. All right, I said, yes.
Yeah, in lieu of a debit card, and there is difficulty obtaining a credit card, another avenue is to get a NOW card where you can place X amount of money on that card at will, and the finance officer can go in online, you know, say you have an event, want to put $800 on the card, he can go in, do the electronic download, transfer,
Take care of that on the way out, would you?
do the electronic transfer onto that card. You can use that card all day long, but you can never exceed the $800, because when you hit $800.01, it goes no more.
Yeah,
And
but things like this, if you're using a card for, say, 4 members of your, you know, the room's $600 or something like that, $500 for the 4 days. That'd be 2,000. You need at least that limit for. So would you call them up and transfer that much on it? There's 100 ways of making sure that you're not going to lose your money. So just think clearly when you do it. I just don't like the idea of a debit card. We never had one at my post.
I echo that. Debit cards, you're not going to get your money back. But at least with a NOW card, you only load up what you expect.
Right. So you're limited to that loss. Okay, recommend the usage of 2 signatures. Let me tell you a little secret. The bank could care less about 2 signatures, okay? But your post should. So make sure that all instruments are signed by 2 people. It just makes it so. I worked around nuclear weapons at one point, and I know that 2-man concept is very, very important. From taking care of nuclear weapons to selling 50/50s, there should always be 2 people doing it. Okay, very important 2 people. It's just too much of a, you know. And I don't want to get into the end of it, but be careful. The ALR Chapter Finance Officer must file a financial statement detailing receipts and disbursements each month with the Post Financial Officer, which will be reported to the Post General Membership. Make out the report, and I'm not talking, we made this, we had this much money, we spent this much money, and this is how much money we got left. That's not a report. How many times has a post got screwed because when they gave the finance report, it was on a little piece of paper, and they said, trust me, that's what we got in the bank.
Or they fail to disclose it at all.
Or at all. So what I did as a post commander, every Monday morning, I went in my bank account. We had 6 accounts in there, and I checked every single one, even the Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts had an account in there, membership. The Riders, the Sons, and the Legion. And to make sure that there wasn't any funny business in there. If you're giving me a report that says we have 13,227, I better read that, 13,227. We caught a Sons commander, a Sons finance officer, kept giving us that report, you know, and he was a trustworthy guy. Then he got arrested for molesting a little girl.
Oh my God.
He's in jail, so we have to take over the bank account, the Post.
There's nothing there.
There's supposed to be like $9 grand in there. There was $13 in the account. And there was a briefcase full of change and checks that haven't been cashed for 90 days. Cash was gone. And the bad thing about it is he bought a car from me.
For 13,000 or 9,000?
No, $500, but it was a Hyundai. Come on. But anyway, you gotta really be careful when you give these reports. I always had my Riders chairman and my Riders director or finance officer and my Sons commander always gave a report at my meeting, at my monthly meeting. And they had to do it out loud in front of the membership. So just a simple report. But you have to have the long form in case somebody asks for it. Any one of you can go to your finance officer and say, I would like a finance report. All the entire breakdown. Give me a bank statement. You know, I want to see it. And you're not accusing him of anything, you're just keeping him honest.
That's right.
He must provide a full accounting of the chapter's finances, submit to the Post Finance Officer monthly, include deposits and disbursements, identify all expenditures, reconcile your bank statement monthly, Retain receipts, very, very important, retaining receipts. Report cash donations at year end to post adjutant, commander by May 1st, 2023. Because they have to report. If an an ALR chapter may not incur any debt in the name of the post without prior approval of the post membership documented in the post membership minutes. Post retains financial responsibility for every entity using their EIN. The post general membership only can pledge assets to incur debt, must be approved at the post general membership meeting. Any questions on it? Very simple. Enough to piss you off. The ALR chapter of a post is a subordinate organization to the sponsoring post, which is a nonprofit organization and a tax-exempt corporation under the laws of the state of Florida. EINs are issued to each post by the IRS. Everybody shares that EIN. ALR is a program of the post and operates under the post EIN. The post is nonprofit and tax-exempt, 501c19 or veterans organization like the VFW, the AMVETS, and so on. Each post is required to file IRS Form 990, nonprofit tax return. You can revoke the nonprofit status, and we've had posts it's happened to, if the return is not filed in 3 years. If you fail to file a 990 for 3 years, oh, wait a minute, that happened to my post. When I left, they neglected to file a 990 for the next 3 years. Of course, that was my fault.
But they still blamed you.
They blamed me. They said I didn't go in and help the new commander because he didn't want me near the post. Because he kept saying, that's not the way Gambler does it. Everybody loves that, don't they?
Yeah.
IRS can revoke the nonprofit status if the return is not filed. Failure to file, post considered a for-profit company. All your sales tax comes due. American Legion Riders will no longer be a non-profit organization. The Florida Department of Revenue issues the consumer certificate of exemption. You'll see one here in just a second. I'm sure everybody has one of those, right? So you didn't pay sales
Legion
tax.
riders of that post will no longer be,
Just along with that, a lot of posts does not know that as soon as the ALR falls under their EIN number, they have to submit another form to the state doing business as,
American Legion Riders,
Yep.
chapter, whatever.
and it's only a $99 fine if you don't, but still.
So little too late. We're gonna have one up here, Gary. Should the ALR chapter be dissolved or suspended, all funds and assets will be immediately turned over to the sponsoring post, which is very self-explanatory. It sucks, but guess what? It has to be that way. Funds and assets belong to the post. Operate under the post EIN. ALR is a program of the post. Spend down your funds as pledged. As the post finance officer or the designee is a signatory, permission may be required. So if you fold, and you need to spend a big chunk of money because you promised it to children and youth, your finance officer probably already took the checkbook. So that has to be gotten from him. That's happened to several posts. And it's also happened where all of a sudden they go on a shopping spree right before the post fold, right before the chapter folds.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Well, if you're gonna go on a spending spree, make sure you have receipts, because they will prosecute. Posts will prosecute. Duties of the finance officer. Maintains accurate records of all transactions by the sponsoring post, financial requirements, deposits funds in an assigned bank account, disperses funds as approved by the chapter, provides financial reports to the sponsoring post executive committee monthly, collect dues as required, and deposits them.
Shouldn't be taking money home.
Do not take money home. You take money out of the post, and I'm gonna say that about anything in the post. Keep in mind, once it's in the post, it belongs to the post. Secure a copy of the post consumer certificate of exemption. This is the form you should carry in your wallet if you're gonna buy stuff for the post, for the chapter. Okay, that'll get you tax exempt. I go to Lowe's. They give you 10% for being a veteran. and you get the sales tax free, right? That's a pretty good discount. The one cashier said, "You can't have both." And I said, "Excuse me? Why can't I have both?" So I had to explain that to the manager. And the manager said, "Oh yeah, you get both." So, I mean, the sales tax exemption is automatic once you file.
Could that have been used here? For the hotel?
Yeah, according to that, yeah, they are.
If it's paid by the post.
If you have a copy of that, then
Yeah,
yeah.
if it's paid by the post.
If it's paid by the chapter or post, yep.
Well, I had a chapter,
According to Les, he used his own credit card.
I had a chapter, debit card.
Right.
That'll work.
That'll work.
Yeah,
Oh, you're one of them,
Joe said okay.
I did too.
huh? Did you really? I'm not saying don't. I mean, if you're comfortable with a debit card, that's fine. I can't tell you what to do.
That's good.
But yeah, anybody that has one of these forms, take it up there. And it'll
She
be
didn't even,
I
I
think they
told
want-
her, I gave it to her, she said, I don't need it. So she told me, she said, I don't really need it.
They actually
Okay.
take a physical, they want it physical so they can scan it.
She said this.
They didn't take mine?
Did they give you credit?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Huh. You're
Will
lucky.
allow the chapter to make purchases free of sales tax, may save on sales tax at convention, summit, conference, dependence upon method of payment. How do I record donated items? Anybody know that? How do you record donated items?
Go to,
You gotta be on the account.
you're one of the forms at Staples. It's a book.
I don't wanna go too fast, I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, it's only been 15
Still got a few more
minutes.
pages. Okay, how do I record donated items? It's very simple. If something is donated for auction or raffle, how many people have had a car donated to them, to the post? Isn't that cool?
A van.
How about
Yeah,
an
van.
RV? I'm not talking about us, I'm gonna tell them that in a minute. But we've had both.
Talking to me?
We've had both donated. As a matter of fact, about 3 years ago, we made a donation to the riders,
The Unity, right?
from the sale of a 1962 Cadillac Eldorado convertible. That was donated to our post, but was donated to the riders. So the riders made the donation. The commander wasn't happy. And you know, that veto power that doesn't exist when membership votes on it. So it was a nice chunk of money. And we also had a RV and we donated that to the church. So we fixed up a little bit and the church ended up with it. Hey, Charlie. Item is considered an asset and contribution revenue. In other words, it belongs to the post when it's donated. Contribution revenue. And let me get back on that. I don't know, you gotta live with this now. I know of a commander who, they donated this really nice pickup truck. I mean, Silverado deal, beautiful truck. Donated to the post for a worthy veteran. Well, the commander said, I'm pretty worthy, and he kept it.
That's just cool.
I'll leave that one alone, but I'm just telling you, that's not the right thing to do. It's really not. Not illegal, but I don't think it was voted on either. Items considered to be an asset and contribution revenue. Contribution revenue must be reported on Schedule G of the IRS Form 990. That's why you have to have your numbers in, so the finance officer can get them on his 990, so he can file his taxes. Reporting of donated items, Schedule G, publication for 990, separate document. And make sure that you provide a receipt to the donator so that he can take it off his taxes. There's two separate forms that you can use. You can make up a one like this, or you can go to the IRS website and you get the donation form. What I used to do, depending on what the item was, I would just leave the amount blank and give it to them and say, hey, you put down what you think it's worth and see what you can get away with.
It's not like we're paying taxes on it.
Exactly. I'm not gonna get in trouble, you are. You're going to jail, not me. All right, so make sure you do give them a receipt. That way you know it's been donated. You don't want Joe to donate you a car and then Joe's wife come back and say, he didn't mean to do that, you know, and then you gotta give the car back.
Okay, quick question, go back to that one again. Where it says donation receipt, the tax ID, that's the one from our certificate?
That's our tag, that's a tax ID
Right,
number
okay.
of the, yeah, of the
That's
post.
what I thought, but I wanted to double check.
Right, that's different at every post.
Yeah.
But you can get off IRS.
Not this one, this is a home rate form. The one from the IRS, just go to the IRS website and just Google donations IRS, and it'll download that form. I don't remember the name of the number of the form right now, but I had a stack of them.
I don't think I got it with me.
But it's just a two-sided form. You fill it out, you have to put your information on it and just give it to the person who donates. Reporting cash winnings over $600. Now, I'm glad we have somebody from the finance committee here.
And not done.
Now, who goes to National Convention as a delegate? Okay, you get $600 for going, right? Right? Except for this past year. Although I signed for $600, they gave me a check for $599, right? So I went to the office and I said, Bruce Comer, you owe me $1. Because I signed for $600. But the reason being is anything over $600 and over has to be reported as a gift. Is taxable. They have to 990 or 1099 you, according to the powers that be at the office. And we've been doing it how long? Yeah, we've been doing it for years and years and years at 600.
Camber, that form is 8283.
8283 is a donation form. So anything that you, anything over $599, you have to 1099 the person receiving it.
It's for winnings, not gift.
Winnings.
Winnings, not gift.
Well,
Gift is 16,000 per year, up to 12.6 million a lifetime.
Dr. Bruce.
I got it right in writing. It's in my class.
Yeah.
It's in my class, and you'll
Show
learn.
that to Bruce, okay? Because I'll talk to you later about a couple of things, other things he's done. Okay, it's really kind of tighten the noose. Consult your tax accountant. Rates may vary. There you go. Sponsoring organization is responsible to withhold. IRS has the ability to demand the taxes not withheld from the post, and non-payment could result in a tax lien. Isn't that special? Personal donations. Your personal donations may not be counted as part of your chapter's cash donations. This would include expenses as raffle tickets, food purchases, auction items, registration, and so on. But you can count them as a charitable contribution on your own tax return. Okay, if you spend $200 a year in raffle tickets to American Legion. And I'm not sure you can have receipts. Don't need it.
You don't need it, you just good faith.
Good faith up to a certain amount, right? You come audit your ass.
I mean, I'm expecting a lot of questions because we got some pretty knowledgeable people in here, so. And I ain't letting you go, 'cause I'll get in trouble.
25 minutes.
You started this year.
Did I start early?
You started early, because I was a couple minutes late.
And the reason I go so fast is because it is getting warm in here.
Yes.
Oh, it's beautiful right here.
Michael,
And I'm on the